emotional intelligence to help organizations to maximize potential and fulfill purpose. That's a major part of what I do here. I have a book, EQ Hack, how to leverage emotional intelligence. Also, I do corporate trainings in the areas of course, emotional intelligence, leadership, communication, customer service, work ethics, and what have you. I also train people personally, personal coachings in stress management, anger management, depression, and the likes. Of course, as you can see, I'm also a speaker. Um, I joined Rotary just this year, but I have always been speaking at Rotary clubs. You can see the picture there here in Africa. And I speak in areas of leadership, communication, people management, empathy, and the likes. I speak at conferences, seminars, churches, NGOs, and government parastatals. I'm also an author. So, having done the introduction, I would like to say thank you for having me. I would like to kick this off. Today, we are looking at diversity and inclusion. And as you can see, I chose to dress in my traditional wear. I'd like to show my face again so that I could make some explanations, but I'll get back to that. Now, the founder of Google, Sundar Pichai, said a diverse mix of voices lead to better discussions, decisions, and outcome for everyone. What this means is that if we're going to be effective in whatever it is we're doing as individuals and organizations, there's a saying that two are better than one. So there's going to be need for a mix, for us to get the best in life. The greatest organizations are the most diverse organizations. So there is a lot that diversity brings to growth, to progress, and I'm excited about the way Rotary is going for the year 2021-2022. One of the major focus is diversity and inclusion, and it is very critical for the growth of Rotary. It is very critical for the growth of the world. A lot of the issues that we have today, including security, racism, and the likes, are as a result of lack of sensitivity to diversity and lack of inclusion. Such that if we paid attention to these things, we will have a more peaceful world, and everyone would be happy. Now, let me talk to you a bit about Africa. For those of us who have not been exposed to Africa before, I have a few friends from outside the world like Europe, and interestingly, they tend to think that Africa is one country. So the first thing I want to explain here today is that Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent, okay? And Africa is way bigger than many people actually know. So Nigeria is a country in the western part of Africa. Nigeria is a country in the western part of Africa. We are known to be the most populous black nation in the world with over 200 million population. We're talking about diversity. So I thought I should leverage my experience and my country, my culture, to help us to understand the importance of diversity. So, for instance, in Africa, we have over 500 languages, 500 original languages. I think it is about 520. In America, I know that 78% of the people speak English. There are some Spanish and other, languages spoken in America, and some of these languages are actually borrowed languages. But here in Africa, we have as much as 500 original local dialects. Now, what that means is this: we are a diverse nation, very diverse. Nigeria is a very diverse nation. Now, we have three major tribes here in Nigeria. One of them is called the Igbo tribe. and then we have the Yoruba tribe, and then we have the Hausa tribe. Let me see if I can show you my face again. So today I am wearing a cap. This cap is from the Yoruba tribe. Okay, the bead on my neck is from the Igbo tribe, and the clothes that I'm wearing is generally worn. It's called the kaftan. So people from all over the country wear it. I am married, and my wife is from the Yoruba tribe. I am from the Igbo tribe. Now, the Igbos are from the eastern part of Nigeria. The Yorubas are from the western part of Nigeria, while the Hausas are from the northern part of Nigeria. Nigeria is a very diverse nation. So if there's any set of people who understand diversity, it is Nigeria, because we have had to live together. Like I rightly told you, I and my wife come from two different tribes entirely, but I speak two of the three major languages. I speak Igbo and I speak Yoruba. So today I want to teach us a bit of language, since we're talking about diversity. I hope that is fine. So I'm hoping by the end of this session you'll be able to say hello in Igbo, hello in Yoruba, hello in Hausa. Okay? So I'm going to start the greetings that we greet in the morning. The Igbos will say Ibolachi. That is how the Igbos greet in the morning. Ibolachi. The Yorubas, where my wife is from, would say Ekaro. The Yorubas will say Ekaro. And then the Hausas, those are the people from the northern part of Nigeria, will say Inakwana. The Hausas will say Inakwana. I hope this is interesting. I believe it's interesting to you guys, and I would like to get some feedback to be sure that I am not alone. Now, so back to my conversation about diversity. So I've just told you about how diverse Nigeria is, and this has helped us in many ways. Diversity have helped us to be able to adapt. Nigerians are one of the most adaptable people in the world. Originally born Nigerians can survive anywhere in the world. I know that there are different stereotypes about Nigerians and Africans, but trust me, we are one of the brightest, the most industrious, the most creative, and the most productive people on the planet. You can take that to the bank. In fact, recently, for those of you who listen to hip hop and follow hip hop news, the hip hop star Rihanna recently came out to say that her mother told her that she's originally from the Igbo tribe, which is a Nigerian tribe. Now, she's a billionaire, recently confirmed by Forbes, right? So that's to tell you that people from Africa are great people, and we're people to reckon with, and we have a lot to offer, especially where Rotary is concerned. I mean, as a member of Rotary, who is a speaker, for instance, I have a vision to spread the message of emotional intelligence all over the world. To bring my own experience, my own knowledge, to be able to help solve problems. Because we have a world that is fast growing in the direction of isolation. We are getting isolated by the day. And the truth is, we are wired to connect. The moment we fail to connect, then we start to die. Humans are wired to connect. And that's why I love Rotary. We come once every week to fellowship, to share a drink, to have lunch together. It is the best thing that can happen to humanity. If everybody was a Rotarian, the world would be a much peaceful place. I strongly believe so. Now, I like to say that colors are mostly beautiful when they combine. Colors are mostly more beautiful when they combine. When you imagine, I want you to imagine that you step out of your house and all you see is yellow cars throughout the day. The building is yellow, your house is yellow, and it's all yellow and no other color. Trust me, to be boring. So diversity brings color, and color brings excitement and happiness. So this is why I think that diversity, both in the Rotary Club and in the world, is important. I know that some of us are top managers, some of us are business owners, and I would like to seize this opportunity to encourage you to implement diversity in your structure, because without diversity there will be limitation. All right, diversity helps us to bring different combination of gift. Now when I say color can mean skill. All right, we all have different skills, we have different strengths. Some people are good with IT, some people are good with management. Now when we bring all this together, then it becomes colorful, then it becomes beautiful. Every successful organization, like I said before, go and check, they have a diverse talent, culture, people from different places brainstorming together, because colors are most beautiful when they combine. And that is why I'm grateful that Lewis brought me on here, and I hope that after today we'll begin to be more sensitive to diversity and inclusion in our workspace, in the Rotary Club, in our organization, in the government, and everywhere possible, because that is one of the ways to make the world a more beautiful place. We should not be biased against culture, ethnicity, tribe, sex. One of the goals of this Rotary year is to empower girls, and that is very important, because over the years the girl child has been disadvantaged, especially here in Africa. Back in the day, and in some places this is still practiced, the girl child does not go to school. Only the male child goes to school in some parts of Africa. So the girl child is supposed to stay at home and learn to cook, okay, and learn to take care of the house and learn to do chores. So the girl child is not allowed to go to school in some parts of Africa, because it is believed that after a while the girl child will be married away, so there's no point investing in her to educate her, if you understand what I mean. And this is something that needs to change, and I am happy that Rotary is playing a major role in making this happen. So I am happy that Rotary is playing a major role in making this happen, and I hope that in this Rotary year, both the Rotary Club Chicago, we can engage in projects that will empower the girl child, because this is very, very important. Now, I would like to talk about the importance of diversity and inclusion as regards to creativity. One of the key necessities for growth in the world today is creativity. The reason why we can have this meeting, that I can speak to you all the way from Africa, is because someone was creative enough to design the technology of Zoom, which is the platform we are using today. It takes creativity to make the world a better place. Now, for us to be creative, it is ideas from different sources, brainstorming from different quarters, and that's why diversity is critical, because it boosts creativity. Now, when we know the importance of diversity and how it affects creativity and progress, then we'll become more sensitive. For instance, in my club, we had a conversation last week where one of the past district governors was a speaker, and he said there should be every career and profession represented in the club. So in the club, we should have a doctor. In the club, we should have teachers. In the club, we should have lawyers. In the club, we should have accountants in the right proportion. So one club should not have all doctors in the same club. That way that club cannot grow. So the club needs to be diverse in the people that are in that club. So there has to be all professions represented within that club so that the club can be effective. Because if we have a doctor and a lawyer and an engineer all in one club, then we'll be able to collaborate. That is one of the powers of diversity, collaboration. We're able to collaborate, we're able to be effective, we're able to engage in projects that will better the life of people. Because some of these projects requires different skills to come together. So that is why it is important that we are sensitive to diversity within and outside our club. And I don't want to have this conversation and just focus on Rotary alone. In fact, it is more important to me what we do outside Rotary than what we do within Rotary. Because ultimately, I believe that we are ambassadors of Rotary International everywhere we go. So if we're preaching diversity, for instance, in Rotary International, what this means is that we should practice diversity and inclusion in all spheres of our doings. Are you a manager who manages a team? How are you leveraging inclusion in your team? Okay, because when this is done, it certainly will boost creativity. And I'm sure you want those creative juices to flow so that there can be productivity and there'll be growth. Now, I want to talk about the importance of diversity and inclusion as regards peace in the world. There's a joke. Now, this is a joke. Please don't take it too seriously. About the King Solomon in the Bible. If you remember the story, he is known to have had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Now, Solomon was the only king who did not fight a war. Okay, he was the only king who never fought a war. So someone jokingly said the reason why he never fought a war was because whenever he wanted to fight any nation, someone would come and tell him, you have in-laws there, because he had so many wives. So it was believed that he married from all over the place. So he will be told, you have some in-laws there, so you can't fight that nation. When he wants to fight another country, someone says, oh, your in-laws are also in that country, so you can't fight that nation. That way, there was no need to fight the war. I'm just using that comical story to let us know that there is power in diversity and inclusion. And it can bring a lot of peace to the world. And one of the goals of Rotary is to bring peace to the world. And if we're going to achieve that, then we must leverage diversity and inclusion. Who are the people in our clubs? What are they bringing to the table? How sensitive are we about people's opinions, their skills, their ability, their thoughts? How much are we including people in decision making? Sometimes when we develop a system, there are certain loopholes, okay, that tend to tilt in a particular direction when it comes to sharing information. And that is something I would like to talk about. Is everybody being carried along? Is there a system that ensures that everybody is being carried along? Or are some people being left behind? This is something that is very critical when we're talking about inclusion and diversity. Because if we're going to have a peaceful world, then we as Rotarians, we should be pioneers to make this happen. And it starts with what we do within the club and outside the club. How are we promoting peace? How are we being sensitive to other people's culture? For instance, as I speak now, I am not sounding like you because I am from a different culture and I have a different language and my tone is different. So my question is, as you're listening to me now, how are you accepting my tone? Are you listening to understand me? Or are you saying, oh, this guy is sounding funny? That is what we talk about diversity and inclusion. We have to be willing to get everybody, on the set. We have to be willing to allow people to participate. You have to be willing to allow people to bring their gift, their talent, like Rotary encourages, to serve humanity. This is very important if we're going to enjoy a peaceful world. Now, how can we achieve diversity and inclusion? How can we achieve diversity and inclusion? How can we achieve diversity and inclusion? I like to say that everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything rises and falls on leadership. Everybody listening to me now is a leader. In your home, in your place of work, on the Rotary Club, maybe you are the public image person, maybe you're the president, maybe you're the treasurer. We are all leaders. And if we're going to ensure diversity and inclusion, is all about how we lead. Are we practicing inclusive leadership? In your position as a leader within that capacity, are you carrying everybody along in your decision making? Are you including your members in the processes? Do you take decisions alone, or do you ask other people for contribution? Everything rises and falls on leadership. If we are going to have a diverse world, if we are going to have a world where there is inclusion, then we as leaders in our various capacities have to take responsibility. We have to take responsibility in the way we lead. We should not practice autocratic style of leadership where we use veto powers and whatever we say is law. That would not help for diversity at all. Instead, we should include people in strategy sessions, in decision-making meetings. Everybody, to amaze you how some of the brightest ideas can come from the most unlikely sources. I will say that again. Some of the brightest ideas will come from the most unlikely sources. Okay, so it is important for us to ensure that we include everybody in all our leadership capacities. So being you a manager, a club leader, a family leader, please let us know that if we're going to have diversity and inclusion in Rotary and in the world today, it all rises and falls on leadership. Now, this is the part that interests me the most. Like I told you earlier, I am an emotional intelligence coach and trainer. Now, one of the major components of emotional intelligence is empathy. Empathy is a very powerful tool that we can leverage to build diversity and inclusion. So the question is, how can we leverage empathy? One, we have to learn to listen. In recent times, I've done some researches and I've realized that listening has become so scarce today. People don't listen to one another. In conversations, many times we are just waiting for the other person to stop talking so that we can start talking. All right, that is not listening. Listening is you being able to temporarily suspend your thoughts and be open to what the person is saying so that you can understand, and from there you can respond. You know, we shouldn't enter conversations with predetermined mindsets, with predetermined responses. We should learn to actually listen. Listening requires your emotion. When people are talking, you have to be empathetic in listening so that you can actually hear what they are saying. Now, when in listening to people, for you to really understand and connect with them, you must listen to what they are saying and what they are not saying. Many times, the most communication is non-verbal. So people communicate with their hands, with their eyes, with their bodies, with their tones, more than with the words. So if we're going to achieve inclusion, then it is important that we leverage empathy to listen to people, so that we can hear them, understand them, and be able to collaborate with them, be able to work with them to achieve the goals. A tree, they say, does not make a forest. No matter how brilliant you are, you cannot get the job done alone. I want to take a second to appreciate Joe, who is the technical guy at your club. If Joe was not there to help set up the Zoom, we would have problems today. But Joe is there to help us set up the Zoom, and so we can have this meeting. That is how beautiful these things are. Number two, we must put ourselves in other people's shoes. This is very important. We must put ourselves in other people's shoes and learn to understand others. This is very, very critical. And then finally, it is important that we learn to find common grounds. That is the point where we connect. If we find common grounds where we align, then we connect, and then we're able to move forward, we're able to solve problems, and we're able to get things done. These are some of the ways that I think that we can leverage to boost diversity and inclusion in the things that we do. And finally, openness. And I want to talk about this in regards to company structures, organizational structures. What are your reporting systems? What is the structure? Is there an open structure for communication? Many organizations tend to have a top-bottom approach in communication. But in today's time, if we're going to ensure diversity and inclusion, we must have both a top-bottom and bottom-up approach to communication. We must be open to listen to ideas from frontline employees. We must be open to listen to ideas from anybody. Because, like I said, the best ideas come from the most unlikely sources. I don't intend to take too much of your time. I hope I've been able to do justice within the time given. And here are my final words. I like to say that find your track, and it won't matter who is ahead of you or behind you. My name is John Asiegbu. I am Africa's leading emotional intelligence expert. Thank you very much for your time.
We met online on LinkedIn. I noticed he was a Rotarian, so I reached out to him and we were just talking, Rotary talk. And I asked him, would he be interested in speaking to our club regarding diversity and inclusion. And we met on Zoom twice, and we talked about, differences in different areas and what's the climate like of diversity in Africa versus here and stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting if he came and I talked to our club. And he immediately said yes. There's no hesitation at all. And each time I talk to this guy, I seem to pick up something. Yeah. So, it's and I'm going to continue to talk to him as well. As a matter of fact, I have some ideas that I want to run past him. So we'll be talking real soon, John.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. I just want to personally thank you for taking your time out. I told the club last week when we first met, it was 7 p.m. here and 1 o'clock in the morning in Africa. This guy was just as spry as he is right now. I'm going, are you kidding me?
Thank you.
I'm ready to go to bed, man. But yeah, I appreciate the time. I really do. It's a new experience for our club, and hopefully,
what's the size and makeup of his club?
Yeah, it's a good joint. John, what's the size of your club?
We're about 65 in number. We're the third largest club in the country. Third established club in the country. We are 60 years this year. Rotary Club of Ibadan. That is the club that I belong to. I have my pin here. You can see.
Awesome. Okay, John. Hey, if you want to hang on, that's fine. If you want to, take off and do some other things, that's great too. Again, with our club, appreciate you.
Okay, I will just take my leave now. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I forgot. Say it already. Hi, languages. Can you believe that? Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah.
In the West, they talked about how many languages were spoken amongst families in the district, and it was over 100.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
which is, you think, well over 100.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Wow. All right, back on July 7th, my first edition meeting, we talked about doing some committees, and I kind of downgraded the term to teams. And so far, I just want to announce what we have so far. We're going to keep adding to this list, hopefully, as we continue to grow. So far for leadership, of course, Tom Clark is going to be our chair. We have Joe, Ryan, and Steve. Okay. Community outreach, we have Linda who's going to chair. We have Sue Lindahl, Judd, Hannah, and Ben Black. Our fundraiser is one of our probably most important. We have Karen Sims, Sue DeBoat, Harriet, Lorraine, Linda, and Joe. Public image, which is another, I think it's going to be a really important one. Stacy Boyd is going to chair this team. So far, we have Chris, Joe, Curtis, and Pandolph. And our diversity and inclusion, which doesn't change much from what we had last year. Curtis Spivey is going to chair this team. Joel, Charlie, Steve, Peter, Linda, and myself. What I plan to do is reach out to all the chairs and put together a meeting, hopefully within the next 2 or 3 days. Just kind of get some direction of what we're going to do. Once we have the teams, then we got to learn to work together. Once we get that going, we're going to see the club start to move. And I think it's a real positive direction. We all know what we're working toward in February. Everyone knows that the winding time is a big thing. I do believe with all the clubs, teams, working together, we can help make that a huge, huge success. So I'll be reaching out to you guys, Stacy, Linda, Curtis, Karen, and Tom Clark. See if we can sit down together for maybe an hour or so and kind of put a plan together, how we're going to move forward. But as John has said, it's also his collaborative model for our club. It's not going to work if we don't work together. It's not going to work if the teams don't work together. If public image doesn't work with membership, or if membership doesn't work with diversity and vice versa, then it won't work. But when all of us learn how to work together, I think it's going to be a really good game changer. I really do. John mentioned leadership, and I thought about that as well. Good teams have to have good leaders. Okay, so that's one thing I'm going to focus on for our teams is our strong leaders. And I'm not going to pick any styles. I want the leaders to man their team like they want to, okay, with the same goal in mind, whatever benefits the club. So, I put a lot of thought into this, to be quite honest with you. And once I believe we get this off the ground and get it going, I think we'll see it. All right, any questions on that really quick? Dan?
Right.
Happy bucks, right?
Go with Happy Bucks. Anyone on the Zoom for Happy Bucks? Oh, good.
I got a few. First, I want to thank Harriet Parker. The beauty of Rotary's connections. Harriet hired my wife to do outreach for the new State of Illinois grant program. So thank you. That was awesome. I want to thank Linda Callahan sent me this cool calendar. It's got, because I refinanced, I got a 2% loan. She gave me this stick-on magnet. I got it on a back of a pan. But unfortunately, the bottom of it has the Green Bay Packers on it. But what also is cool, Joel Cosmer will love this. If you take the Simply Destiny thing, you can put it right over that. No more Packers.
That's a beautiful thing, Judd. Way to be thinking. That's teamwork.
And Louis, thanks for, and all the people from Nigeria on the call. Thank you for coming so late in the night, and we really appreciate it. It was really interesting. Thank you.
Other happy bucks.
Are all the people online the guests from Nigeria or?
I think it's only one. I'm not sure.
No, there's a bunch of them.
At least 3,
Okay,
4.
yeah, then they must be. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Linda.
I am very happy that Elburn Days is over and it was very successful. And it was really fun to see the Rotarian show up. Thank you all who came. And yeah, and I'm on for next year. No, nobody, none of us won the car. Somebody from Tennessee won the car.
Dang it.
So,
God.
but thank you for everybody for support.
That was the 50-50. How much?
5,000. And this is the funny thing. We put together a Kiwani one. We put together a basket for the Kiwani things when they did the road, and whoever won that basket won 50 raffle. But we don't know who it is yet.
Oh,
They haven't come forward. They're like winning the lotto.
wow.
Lorraine.
Good morning, everyone. I kind of said it earlier. My happy buck is for a wonderful and successful school year. Today, I will be welcoming 22 children in my classroom. We're going to face some challenges, but I know we're going to overcome them. And we have a great staff this year. So I'm looking forward to a good year. So I'm sorry I'm not present. I probably won't be present for the next 2 or 3 weeks while we get adjusted to the coming back to school. But I'm excited. So 22 happy bucks next week for each one of my students who's going to make me a happy teacher this year.
Happy bucks.
I've got,
Okay, go ahead, Sue.
I got 10. 9 for my grandchildren who are all in school and doing very well, all healthy. And another one for my wife who is handling things quite well. So, that's what I'm happy with.
Sue.
I am happy that my brother-in-law is okay. He had a tree fall on his house last night. And of course, it was late, the storm was through late, so he doesn't know what kind of damage and stuff is on the house. But he's okay and car's okay, so his house is repaired.
A couple, I've helped some of you with your pets, but I helped Lorraine, recently. And as you know, Lorraine can be a very persuasive person. But she's trusted me and to help her dog get rid of a bladder stone. It's gotta be about this big. And her dog is only, it's less than 20 pounds. But it seems like it's dissolving, so we avoided surgery the other day, but that means she still has to deal with the stone for longer. But it was funny because Lorraine said, okay, now take off the doctor hat, put on my friend Joel hat. What would Joel do? What would you tell me to do? Okay, now put back on your doctor hat.
Any others? Dave.
I'm going to pay up for something I mentioned last week, and so far it's I've recovered from through COVID and tested negative, so we're very thankful about that. None of our family. Number 2 is for Joe, the electronic guy. Very possible. I think this is a marvelous application of technology.
Behind the scenes. Ooh, I know where Lewis lives.
Any others? Great. Go ahead with our drawing then.
Why bother to buy tickets? Joel showed up after I did.
Oh, well, you got too many tickets to draw. We'll have to draw there. Right.
1, 2, 4.
1, 2, 4.
Hey.
See, that would have been awkward.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't have drawn my own.
He's got two of them.
Is this the last meeting of the month?
It is. Gloves.
Even I know.
How about you? There you go, sir. And back to you, Mr. President.
All right, does anyone know of any local upcoming events you'd like to tell the club about?
Oh, I have my ribbon cutting and open house today at 3. If anybody's around and wants to stop on out, the fridge is full of beer. So it's Route 31 and Main Street in Batavia. It's an old Sears home is where my office is. So there'll be tours in there too to check it out. It's pretty awesome. So if you're around, stop on out.
It's gonna be the Batavia Chamber.
Yeah, Batavia and Geneva Chambers.
I have the list for the food pantry for tomorrow. It's Lorraine and Isaac, Tom and myself, Stacy and Dr. Day. Thank you for voting.
Awesome. So you're looking pretty good going forward, right? Okay,
Yeah, we're done. It's October.
awesome. Awesome.
Give our guests online introduce themselves. Want to have any of these people introduce themselves?
I didn't know who they are. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
I can't say it.
yeah.
It's like we'll see who you are.
Yeah. What time does it start? 5? 7, 5 to 6.
Okay, if there's nothing else, well, let's stand and read our 4-way test. Say it again.
Is it very involved, sir? Your goodwill and better friendships.
I would like to know. John. I'd like to know. You know,
I never asked about it.
I'm just thinking, since Tom was introducing, you know, the guests online, those names would be confusing for us to, you know, pronounce.
I think so too.
I'm having a hard time with Barbara.